Hello and welcome everybody to Katawa Shoujo. So we are walking with Rin and Lily. I am still sick, so don't wonder if it sounds strange or stuff. And here we go. We start towards the school again, having wasted way more time than necessary with the episode. This episode. No, actually it was just like 35 minutes, the last one. Oh well. Rin walks along the edge of the sidewalk in an arithmetic way, looking like a mix of sleepwalker and rope dancer, while Lily keeps one hand on my shoulder, tapping at the ground with her cane. Tap, step, step, taps, tap, tap. Okay, I don't know. Tap and steps. Apart from that and a few fragmented beginnings of conversation, it's quiet. Quite apart from the relaxing one into town at that. So, how's the mural going? We are going to get bad luck. Never talk about works in progress. I'm sure it will be wonderful. Bad luck. Tap, step, tap, step. She doesn't care to talk about it. Lily's politeness feels out of place for the first time. Step, step, step. The hill Yamaku rests on top of is surprisingly steep. Steep. Never heard of that either. I learned English through this visual novel, really. We slow the pace, but I still feel my pulse rising and breathing getting heavier. Almost there. I can see the gates already. More than that, though, I notice that Lily's hand slightly tightens on my shoulder, interpreting it as a gesture that she wants to ask something. I speak up. Anything wrong, Lily? I resist the urge to say, aside from our traveling companion, but only just. I hate you, Hiso. You are such a douchebag. You're so unpolite, you don't deserve Lily. For a moment she seems to debate whether she should even bring it up, but goes for it anyway. Is everything alright? Alright? How do you mean? The fact, she feels that he is not feeling. Oh, I think he didn't tell Hanako and Lily, didn't he? Yeah, he didn't, I think. The fact I can't interpret her incredibly vague question puts her off for a second. It's just, you seem unusually tired, I guess. Now that she brings it up, I notice that my breathing is strangely heavy. The uphill walk has really done a job on me. Wait, let me save first. I won't do the clicking stuff again. Let me save first. Create new save state. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Sorry, I'm not in very good condition is a lie. And I don't really want to talk about it is blunt. But maybe with I'm not in very good condition comes the hard stuff. Maybe. I don't know. I'll go with not in very good condition. But I have the feeling that it's wrong. I'm always saying that, don't I? Always when I make decisions I say I feel like it's wrong. It's alright, I just need to catch my breath. My condition isn't the best these days. Oh. Is it something that is related to you being transferred here? I mean... She cuts herself off rather abruptly, maybe realizing she was being a bit intrusive. Her instincts are sharp, though, and while I don't like the subject, it's not like I should lie about it. Yes, was the right decision. I'm so glad. If it's Lily, I don't think I mind. I'm just a little weak for the time being. Hanako said you look fairly healthy, so I naturally thought. Lily doesn't finish her sentence again, letting it trail off with a measure of concern. As she furrows her brow, Lily's uncomfortable expression spurs me to say at least something to ease her feelings. It's surprising she is this flustered considering her straightforward attitude with her own blindness. She must know that not all share her own comfort about such things. No, it's okay. I have a pretty... I guess the best way to put it, it would be messed up heart. Arrhythmia. Still don't know how to pronounce that though. I had a bad heart attack a while ago because of it, and spent most of the spring in a hospital. Ended in Yamako on doctor's order. She silently nods her head in acknowledgement. My answer, though, only seems to make Lily furrow her brow even further. She doesn't seem to quite know how to react, given we don't really know each other that well. I can't really fault her for it, given I have the exact same reaction. To my surprise, in a moment's time her face shows that she's come to some sort of realization. Wait, so the time when Amy and you collided in the hallway... I grimace slightly. Her ability to connect the dots quite so fast is unexpected. Yeah, I guess I'm a textbook example why those rules about running in the corridors exist. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And with with Amy, you would die sooner or later. I'll tell you. That was a lot more dry than I'd intended. Lily visibly shies away from continuing the topic. While I do want to assuage her concern, I really don't want to dwell on this either. Don't worry about it. I tried to offer a reassuring smile, but then I realized the futility. Without knowing this, Lily smiles at me reassuringly, but doesn't say anything further. Arriving at the dorms, Rin stops in front of her mural as if lightning struck her. She had been so quiet for almost all of the walk back that I had all but forgotten she was here. It's Friday, isn't it? Yes, Friday the 8th of June. This is bad. Bad? Why? I think I'm going to go in a fatal position and throw up. Possibly in reverse order. What? Is something wrong? Probably. No, nothing's wrong. It's Friday. Nothing is wrong yet. This mural, it's going to be neat finished by Sunday, so everything is all right. Do you have any drugs? Or a time machine? Oh no, that's a syringe. I was already wondering why Lily would say something like this. Do you have any drugs? Or a time machine? This is not good. Not good. So she is behind her schedule. Recalling Shizune's exasperation at Rin's carefree attitude several days ago, I don't know what to think. She has left herself open for a told you so, unless she can pull off whatever she needs to pull off by Sunday morning. Rin keeps staring at her mural, looking as mortified as she can. Leave me. I'm going to need to work for a while. I glance at Lily, expecting her to share an incredulous look with me as I roll my eyes, but then I realize she's not one to do that kind of thing. Okay. From the beginning, I thought this the whole first time I played this. You are making too many blind jokes with lilies. This is really not nice. I mean, 1 or 2, but this is probably the 10th or something like this. Leave me. We do, of course, not wanting to aggravate her any more than she already is. There's a churning bad feeling in my gut. Rin sure has a knack of making people feel worried about her. She seems like a person who should never be left alone. Maybe we should call someone. She sounded like she was going into shock or something. I'm sure she will be just fine. She's just... how to say? Lily cocks her head a little, trying to find a polite way of calling Rin crazy without calling her crazy. Unique? Yes, a very unique person. I guess you could say that. She giggles at the notion melodiously, nodding in agreement. Sorry about leaving you stranded as you talk to her. I don't really understand her, so I keep my distance. Well, at least you're not as blunt and assholeish as he so. I mean, you don't have to be friends with everybody, so... But still... I don't know about you people. You people that probably don't even watch this shit here. But still, maybe one or two. Well, I don't know about you people, but I like Rin. I think she's kind of interesting. I mean, she's a different kind of personality. But hey, at least, as already mentioned, you don't have to be friends with everybody. And she's not as blunt and assholeish about it as he so. So my guess was right. Lily offers a slight, apologetic smile, as if she was sorry that her own shortcomings have prevented her from becoming closer to Rin. I'm not the one to blame her. At all. Man, fuck you, Hiso. Lily let slip. Whoa, no, and by now I know how to get back. Lily let slip a long breath, probably a disguised yawn. I imagine she's as exhausted by all this as I am. I'd better leave now and give these to Hanako. Thank you for the company, Hisao. She smiles very sweetly at me. It feels different than normal, despite the fact that she seems to be smiling so often. I can't put my finger on what the difference is, it's just different. It really looks a bit different. Is the drawing different? Maybe I'm just imagining that. Relaxed, I'd say, but that's probably just relief over getting rid of Rin. Maybe. Yeah, good night. Say hi to Hanako for me. I will. Good night. Yeah, that sounds pretty neat. Ah, damn it. No. There you go. Next day? Next day. Okie dokie. Unchanged positions or my shoulder will break or something. Oh, Jesus. The students roll into the class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired ass of people who have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Oh, you only have to suffer until lunch break. Yeah, I already read that. Oh, well, wait, this was different. I think, when we had the not the heart attack, but, the heart problems, he said, he scolded me for running, and this time he says, yeah, if I had problems, and I say hadn't have problems so far. A brief shimmer of relief passes across Mutu's face. Good, that's good. The school nurse was a little concerned that you might have been pushing yourself a bit too hard. He asked me to keep an eye on you when he couldn't. That makes sense. I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education that you would get at a normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where those limits are, and how to maximize your potential within them. Do you follow me? I guess. I mean, I don't plan on doing anything stupid. Well, that's a start, I guess. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. Tried up to keep up mood. So, off learning. I wouldn't go that far. Yeah, we read that. Whoa, wait. So I don't have to bother with it. Okay. There you go. That is probably new. Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously, waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that, or anything else either, so an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 50 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil had splitters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sounds of my irritated sigh and subsequent fumbling around for a sharpener feel like they are breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Whoop. Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. Ah. Did we read that? It seems so familiar. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye, out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her though, a slender frame reaching into her back and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be a quite fast reader to get through them at this rate. But why would Lily leave her on her own device? To her own device? It seems to be quite out of the ordinary, going by Hanako's reaction. Ah, that's right. I think Lily mentioned something about going into town today before Rin bumped into us. The thought of that walk makes me look outside. The bright sun, no, we definitely didn't have that. The bright sun and occasional people wandering around and enjoying the afternoon make me yawn to get out of school, or at least do something other than sit here. Giving in to one of my worst vices, procrastination, I decide that history is a subject best studied on a Sunday, or a Monday, or any other day than this one. I thought Muto is a science teacher. Oh well. I give a grunt as I lever myself out of my seat, briefly debating with myself whether or not to hang out with Kenji. He doesn't strike me as the enjoying the nice weather outside with others kind of person, really. I guess I'll catch up with him later. Hey, but he's more tolerant. He hates Rin in this path more, but he's more tolerant towards Kenji and his female feminist theories, anti-feminist theories. Changing text, I briefly entertain the idea of talking with Hanako. By the time I look at her seat, it's vacant. She must have left for the library. There's got to be something to do that can kill the time. Ooh. So there you go, people. Obviously, pretty obviously, this is Hanako or Lily. Lily is in the town, Hanako in the library. And to be honest with you, I really want to go for Lily. So I'll do that. Although I think it strikes me as odd that I have so many decisions here and not in the Amy path. It was like after the heart attack, it was all Amy. Maybe I could have gone for, if I really was awkward and, didn't do the stuff I did, maybe I could have ended up with someone else. Still, but this is so obvious. It gives me a bad feeling. Okay, right, go for a walk into town. Following Hanako to the library seems a bit intrusive. There was a reason she left the classroom after all. And that aside, I do want to catch up with Lily. At the very least, I'd like to thank her for looking out for me, despite her other, obviously taxing duties. I guess I'll walk around town. With any luck, I should be able to find Lily. The exercise will do some good as well. That's true. Walking through the school courtyard to the gate, I give a small nod to a couple of passing classmates, the gesture being returned in kind. Even from here, the shouts of the sport club's members can be heard. From the sheer volume of the din, the track must be packed right now. I remember what Lily said yesterday about being dropped right into the middle of a busy time for school. While I'm trying to get my bearings and catch up on study that I've missed, everyone else is doing normal school activities. The feeling of being a foreigner still hasn't dissipated, at least not yet. Well, I guess I guess not everything is bad. This is a private school, and that much is easily noticed when walking around outside. Not only are the school grounds huge, but the buildings themselves are immaculate and quite divorced from the dime a dozen concrete blocks of public schools. There's also the fact that there is a much stronger feeling of community here, or at least a friendlier atmosphere. At my old school, it was generally accepted that people would keep to their little clique and be done with it. That's true, that's so true about everything he says. The school is nice, and the people are nicer. Eventually I reached the gate and began to walk down the road and into town. Well, that was fairly productive. Having seen a fair portion of town, even including the houses perched on the hills around the outskirts, I decided to take a walk around the park before heading back. Living in the city all my life, the total lack of smartly dressed businessmen and fashionably dressed girls strikes me as incredibly unusual. Living in the city all my life, the total lack, I was wondering. All that's to be seen are the odd, elderly person shuffling along the sidewalk and assorted busily chatting pairs of middle-aged women outside of small storefronts. Walking along the road to the park quickly distracts me from them, though, making me realize that I perhaps pushed myself further than I should have done to see as much as I could. As my breath begins to wheeze and my chest tightens more and more, I give up on the prospect of soldiering on. Ooh. Maybe the library would have been better. Didn't even think about that. On the other hand, he was running around with Amy. You want to tell me he can't go through town, but he can run laps and laps and laps with this weak heart? I mean, you probably can train your heart a little bit with arrhythmia, but he was, running lap and lap and lap after a time. This is ridiculous. After a quick glance around the park as I enter, I take a seat on a wobbly old bench that I notice near a couple of vending machines. For minutes on end, I sit with my head bent over, forcing myself to take deep breaths. I feel more like an old man than a teenager who should be in the prime of his life. The stay in the hospital, the surgery, and the medications must be their toll on me. Damn it. Eventually, my breathing returns to normal, and the muscles in my chest loosen, not without a fair measure of relief. I guess this means the end of my little sojourn, though, in any case. There's a cafe on the far corner, so I'll stop by to quench my thirst before heading back. The little bell above the door signals my arrival to an empty counter. For a few moments I stand there waiting, my eyes every now and again drifting from one end of the counter to the other, searching for a service bell. Yeah, we had that, only with Amy and Rin. Eventually, a door some way behind the counter opens, the person emerging from it taking me by complete surprise. Yuko? Hi, I had no idea you worked here. I really have no idea how to address her either, given that she is technically school staff as well, apparently a waitress. Yes. She quickly paces up to the corner before flinging her upper half downwards in an overacted bow. Welcome to the Shanghai. May I take your order? Straight down to business, I see. I don't know, well, some coffee, please. I don't think that is good for your heart. Yes, certainly. I'll make it right away and bring it to you when it's done. Thanks. Yuko's formality takes me aback. She seems to take her job very seriously. Obeying her instructions, I turn around and quickly glance around for a free table. Considering the cafe seems to be empty, this is a simple task to accomplish. As I walk towards a table adjacent to the window, I notice a flash of yellow around one of the table dividers. Oh, is this Lily's mom? Jesus. Sure enough, no more than a glance is needed to ascertain that it's a certain Sato at the table. That's sad. I don't recognize the suited figure across the table from her. Maybe her sister. I don't know. Blonde, fair-skinned, and only a little shorter. She? I think she must be a relative. Yeah, I think it's a she, probably. By the way, cool hair. Since the two are all but silent as Since the two are all but silent as the suited figure takes a swig from a cup of coffee, I decided to greet Lily. Some part of my coming here was in order to meet her, after all. Hi, Lily. Hisao. Yeah, nice to see you again. The suited girl looks up, noting my uniform with a relaxed smile. Know each other? Oh. By the way, she has red eyes. She's the demon. Know each other? Know each other? I'll just talk normally. Know each other? I guess. It's as good as an approximation of our relationship as I can think of. Care to take a seat? She says this to the air beside me, but the message is clear enough and I take a seat beside her. I suppose some introductions might be in order. Hisao, this is Akira Sato. Akira. My older sister. Akira could of course also be a man's name. Akira, this is Hisao Nakai, another Yamaku student. Looks like my guess was correct. The newly introduced Akira gives a nod, which I return. What I don't return, however, is the almost analytical gaze with which she looks me over. As she does so, Yuko walks up to the table, carefully places the coffee on the table before bowing and taking her leave. Gently bringing my hand to the side of the cup, I realize that it's already at just the right temperature to drink. After taking a sip, the flavor turns out to be just as good as the temperature. Yuko seems a lot better at this than being a librarian. I take a good, long drink before relaxing into the seat. It takes mere seconds for Akira's examination to come to an end. Apparently becoming quickly bored with the activity, she turns to her sister. So, how's school recently? It seems Akira is entirely unconcerned with someone she doesn't know at all listening to everything they say. Not that I mind, this is this is proud to you know, the two sides of one coin. No, that's probably not what I mean, They grew up in the same household, but they are completely different. This really happens. I know people, who grew up in the same household, but are so completely different. I wonder, not everything happens at home, Education is not just a parent's thing. Your environment has so much influence on you. Not that I mind. Leaving them to their chatting, I sit back and continue drinking the pleasantly aromatic coffee. Sounds like it's pretty busy for you, then. At least I'm not cooking your meals after school anymore. As they talk, I slowly realize that I'm entirely unable to gauge Lily's emotions through her eyes, as I would for any other person. It becomes slightly unsettling as I subconsciously focus on that fact. Whoa, so cold. Weren't you just cooking for yourself anyway? I only ever got leftovers. That's not the point. Are you managing to feed yourself at least? I can cook without blowing myself up, Mostly. That's, it's fine. I needed to learn sometime anyway. Lily? Everyone present is momentarily distracted by Yuko, who places a cup of tea on the table for Lily. Taking the moment to glance at her watch, Akira levers herself off her seat and gives me a quick nod. Well, I'd better be off. It was nice talking to you, Lily. Akira, do you have to? Lily looks genuinely mournful at her sister suddenly leaving. It does seem like she might have the wrong idea. Sorry, I need to get back to work. I'll be on my neck again if I don't make it back quickly. So informal. Akira's trim and tidy appearance would give anyone the wrong impression of her. Bye, Akira. No, I say Akira. Yeah, I went with Rin, then I go with Akira. Come on, don't look so down. I'll be round again. Soon. See us. With that, she waltzes out of the Shanghai with her hand held high. Lily still looks pretty depressed, so I try to make some small talk in an effort to take her mind off it. She seems nice. We used to live together, but now that I live at the school, we hardly ever see each other. Despite Lily having been quite affable, I still don't really know much about her. In hindsight, it's surprising just how much she's extracted from me, really. You used to live together? Was it somewhere around here? It was pretty far south, so the trip into Yamaku was fairly long. With her working hours getting longer and Yamaku being so far away, there was little choice in the end but to move into the dormitories. Well, that explains the chatter about cooking. Evidently, regaining her composure, she livens back up, at least in part. I take it you're better rested now. Sorry? You sound less exhausted than when you did when you came in. What? Jesus. You sound less. Oh, come on. You sound less exhausted than you did when you first came in. There you go. To be able to pick out my breathing like that, she must have pretty good ears, of course. Yeah, ended up walking all over town, despite only planning on taking a short walk down here. Reminded of my thirst from the walk, I lean forward to take a sip. Without further ado, Lily starts on her cup of strong-smelling tea. I guess I would better get going back to Yamaku. There's only so long and I can start studying for, and I want to get a good night's sleep before the festival. Standing from my seat, I take the coffee stand up cup from the table. You are leaving? Yeah. You're going to head back as well? It's getting kind of late. Yeah, why is he leaving? I would have never left you. I'm really wondering. This is kind of strange behavior for him, at least. Well, for a moment she pauses before lifting her face over her teacup as if she was looking at me. Yuko, could we have one more coffee, please? Ah, this is so cute. This is so cute. This is why Lily is the best person in this game. That's not subtle. She gives a short giggle at my frank assessment of her maneuver. It's surprisingly childish and carefree, given her otherwise collected appearance. In the end, though, I have little reason to refuse. To be honest, I can hardly say no, all things considered. Giving a manufactured sigh, I take a seat opposite to her. Wanting company, then? I'd say that it's more that I was wondering. I see she's in questioning mode again. She does seem to be unusually interested in me, or at least curious. Do you have any siblings? Not exactly an unexpected tangent. No, only child. To be honest, the idea of having someone that close makes me a bit envious. Interesting. So he is the Amy in their relationship, huh? I raise an eyebrow, which of course goes unseen. The short silence communicates the question well enough. It's just that others have said the same thing before. It's a difficult subject to try and think about objectively, given that I've always had someone like that. I can mostly understand what Lily means, given that it would be hard to place oneself outside of a situation they've been living in all their life. She and her sister must have a pretty close relationship. Taking pains to interrupt us as little as possible, Yuko dutifully comes over and places a cup on the table. Lily thanks her as I sit back, taking in this waxing girl in front of me. Despite always seeming to be on her guard and in control of herself when talking to others, she has an almost childlike curiosity about other people. That said, those rare moments she seems to slightly lower her guard are the most insightful into how she thinks. Reaching forward for my drink, I realize something I probably should have noticed earlier. I think I'm starting to become kind of curious about her. What? Wait, I missed something. Reaching forward for my drink, I realized something I probably should have noticed earlier. But what? What? Reaching forward. Huh? Or does he mean that when she lowers her guard, he gets the insight? Maybe. Well, anyway, no matter what he meant, we need to stop. So maybe this is a cliffhanger. Probably not, though. So thank you everybody for watching. If you want to see how the story goes on, then come back. We'll see each other again. And yeah, bye bye.